Hello there, I'm Llewellyn King, the host of White House Chronicle, which is coming right up. But first, a few thoughts of my own, and as you may have guessed, they're thoughts about magazines and, as you may not have guessed, but closely related thoughts about newspapers. Both of these endeavors are in terrible trouble. Financially, the old business models are broken, and there's something very sad for someone like myself who spent a lifetime not only working on newspapers and magazines, but also consuming them. And in American journalism, magazines have been very advanced, very clever, very thoughtful. Newspapers rather repetitive. In fact, the newspaper of today is not all that different than the newspaper of 150 years ago. But magazines, it's a different story. DeWitt Wallace introduced the brilliant Reader's Digest in 1923, I think about the same year that Henry Luce and Bret Haddon started Time magazine, which was very clever. The idea of Time magazine was every bit of news you needed to have was in the New York Times, but one, you couldn't get it, and two, there was too much of it. They would boil it down, give it a sense of fun and energy, and off you would go, and of course it was one of the great publishing successes of all time. Now magazines are hurting, with the single exception of this one, The Economist. And The Economist, which comes out of Britain, but is aimed at people who live in the middle of the Atlantic, because it's really an American magazine with English spelling and English editors, manages to hold on and to prosper. And it does that because it does what the old-time magazine used to do. It gives you all the news with a sense of energy and fun. Newspapers, nobody knows what their future is. It's very bad for this democracy. It's very bad for our own well-being that we don't have a lot of newspapers and magazines. And let me tell you that television, radio, Twittering, etc. do not fill the great void that the disappearance of these marvelous things will create. And of course, very sad for those of us who have given our lives to working in journalism and to doing what our friend Dan Revive said on this program when I asked him what was the purpose of journalism. He said, I like to find out what is happening and tell people. They all do. We all have loved doing that. We're not politicians. We like to find out what is happening and tell you. It's sad that the economic model is broken. Today we're going to find out all sorts of things in a wonderful, free-floating conversation between Linda Gasparello, Bob Franken and myself, and we'll be right back with these two remarkable minds going at it with a little interruption here and there from myself.
White House Chronicle is produced in collaboration with WHUT, Howard University Television.